The worst day of my life at Lakeside Estates was also the day I became the most dangerous person in the room. Didn't see that coming. Did you? 3 days after my grandfather's funeral, while my family was still raw from grief, she stood in our yard with her HOA minions pointed at the old farm Grandpa left behind and declared it would be seized for violations. She probably figured I was just some grieving farm kid too lost to fight back. Yeah? Well, some folks should really do their homework before they play hardball. You know what I mean? She had no clue who she was dealing with. Not all professions get stenciled on your mailbox, and some people, when you corner them, will drag you into court, make you bow your head and sign your own resignation letter from the HOA you thought you owned. So if you're hiding in the bathroom to escape your own HOA drama, stick around. Because this story's got everything: greed, betrayal, and a whole lot of comeuppance. I'm Jake Morrison. 3 days ago, I buried the man who raised me. Earl Morrison wasn't just my grandfather, he was my North Star. He'd help anyone from broke ranchers to single moms, and never asked for more than a cold beer and a little company on Sunday night. The whole county showed up to say goodbye to him. But then I had to go back to his old cabin, still smelled like pipe tobacco and memories, and figure out how to honor him while sorting through bills, deeds, and an inheritance that felt more like a mountain on my shoulders than a gift. That's when I found the map. Not just any map, but this old hand-drawn thing with strange symbols, Native American by the look of it, and Grandpa's careful script, sacred ground. Keep secret. Didn't have time to dig into it, though, because just then I heard a pack of voices outside, loud, smug, like they were rehearsing for a reality show. 4 people in matching polos, and one woman who practically radiated, "I'd like to speak to your manager," energy. Enter Patricia Blackwood, self-appointed queen of the Lakeside Estates HOA. Her condolences were as fake as her smile. "You must be Jake," she cooed, her voice as sticky as spilled soda. I thanked her, asked why she was here, and she dropped the mask faster than a bad actor. Out came the violation notice, bright red, of course, because subtlety isn't in the HOA playbook. According to Patricia, our 15 chickens and 2 goats violated Article 47B, no livestock in residential communities. If we didn't get rid of them in 72 hours, the property would be seized. My jaw just about hit the ground. We'd had livestock here since 1974, long before the HOA even existed. Patricia just smirked and told me times had changed. This was a premier residential community now, not a farm. That's when my lawyer radar kicked in. Patricia somehow knew my Harvard student loan balance, the size of Grandpa's estate, even my salary. "How do you know all this?" I asked. She just smiled wider, flashed another document, Grandpa's signature on new HOA bylaws. Something about that signature didn't sit right, but I didn't let on. 72 hours, she said. "I hope we can resolve this amicably." Then the kicker, her ex-husband was Judge Blackwood, so don't bother calling a lawyer. She walked away looking like a chess master. I stood there. But what Patricia didn't know is, those business cards in my wallet don't say farm boy, they say Jake Morrison, attorney at law, Harvard Law property rights specialty. But you never show your hand first. So I called up my old roommate, Tommy Chen, now a digital forensics wizard in Seattle. "Tommy," I said, "I need you to dig into a digital signature and some HOA bylaws that smell like dead fish." He was in. Then I started piecing together Patricia's timeline. Her claim, Grandpa signed the new bylaws December 15th. But a few days later, my sister Martha called Patricia had been harassing Grandpa, calling 3 or 4 times a day about selling the farm. She even lowballed us $200,000 for land worth triple that. When Grandpa refused, she turned nasty. Then suddenly, new bylaws with Grandpa's signature showed up, conveniently dated just before he died. I smelled a rat. Tommy's analysis came in hot. That signature was a cut-and-paste job lifted from Grandpa's will and photoshopped onto the HOA docs. Pixel density didn't match, and the date used a different font. Rookie mistake. As I digested this, I got a call from Eleanor Fitzgerald, a 15-year resident. She whispered that Patricia had pulled the same scam on 2 other families, forced them to sell for pennies, then bragged about cleaning up the neighborhood. Apparently, my grandfather's land was her final obstacle. This wasn't just a personal grudge. It was a pattern. Right on cue, Patricia went live on Facebook, putting on a performance about how we were turning the neighborhood into a barnyard, dragging down property values. Half the neighborhood believed her, the other half was outraged. What she didn't know, her live stream became more evidence for my side. Tommy came through again. Patricia had edited the bylaws on her own computer, and she'd been Googling how to force property sales in Montana and removing grandfathered property rights. This wasn't some snap decision. This was fraud, premeditated and ugly. And just like that, the tide turned. Next morning, Patricia showed up with deputies, animal control, a photographer ready for her big gotcha moment. But I'd called in reinforcements. Nearly 80 neighbors showed up, some just to watch the spectacle, but many because they'd had enough of Patricia's reign of terror. She started her usual routine, clipboard in hand, but I had my own stack of documents. Officers, I said, before you do anything, check this deed. Morrison land owned since 1974, predating the HOA by decades, grandfathered rights under state law. Patricia tried to cut in, claimed, Grandpa signed the new bylaws. Interesting, I replied, showing Tommy's forensic analysis. That signature is forged. Here's proof. Dead silence. Sheriff Martinez, a man who'd seen it all, handed back the documents. Looks like a civil dispute, not a crime. We're done here. Patricia's face turned 5 shades of red, but she wasn't done. She hissed, This isn't over. I just smiled. Threatening an attorney is a bad strategy. Patricia escalated to digital warfare, started a Facebook group full of fake accounts, blaming me for everything from chicken plagues to child endangerment. Tommy traced half her supporters to bot farms and even found she'd spent $18,000 of HOA funds hiring a reputation management firm. Classic misappropriation. So I fought fire with fire. Created my own page, laid out the truth, Grandpa's legacy, the fraud, Patricia's tactics. Posted the receipts, forged signatures, fraudulent bylaws, audio of Patricia plotting with a developer. The community response was volcanic. People came out of the woodwork sharing their own Patricia horror stories. Even better, a lawyer from Billings called. He represented 4 families Patricia had scammed the same way and wanted to join forces. Now we had a pattern of fraud, racketeering, and a development company in on the scheme. It all came to a head at a packed HOA meeting, Patricia in her best power suit laying out charts about property value decline. Her show was good, I'll give her that. But when she handed me the floor, I became cross-examiner, not neighbor. Are you aware of the penalty for misusing HOA funds? I asked, holding up Tommy's forensic report. The room turned on Patricia in a heartbeat. More neighbors stood up sharing stories, coercion threats, and outright theft. The final blow, I revealed her secret deal with the developer. Patricia had already agreed to sell most of Lakeside Estates, including the park, for a fat kickback. The crowd erupted. Patricia resigned, and she did, threatening to sue me for defamation on her way out. She followed through, hired a hotshot attorney, and sued for $500,000. Bad move. The judge assigned to the case, Judge Rodriguez, someone Patricia had tried to ruin with bogus complaints years earlier, but who also knew me from property cases. Patricia's lawyer wilted on sight. I presented everything, the fake docs, the stolen money, the development bribes, even audio of Patricia plotting to desecrate sacred burial grounds. The judge hammered her $75,000 in fines, $40,000 in damages to me, and banned from any HOA office for 15 years. Her mansion was sold to cover court costs. Meanwhile, our farm was named a heritage site, and the Lakota burial ground Grandpa protected was federally safeguarded with regular ceremonies attended by the whole community. Funny thing, Patricia's developer partners bailed, facing their own legal trouble, and the HOA, rebuilt from the ground up, finally felt like home. Our goats and chickens became neighborhood mascots, and Martha's Sacred Grounds Cafe opened in the barn, bringing folks together instead of tearing them apart. And just when I thought it was over, I got an email from a lawyer in California, another family facing a copycat HOA scam. You interested, Mr. Morrison? Oh, I was. There's always another bully somewhere who thinks they're above the law, but there's also always someone willing to stand up and fight back. We all know what it's like when someone with a little power tries to take what's rightfully ours. But knowledge, persistence, and a few good friends can turn the tables on even the biggest bullies. So, what's your HOA horror story? Drop it in the comments. Let's hear how you fought back. Hit that like button if you love a good comeback, and subscribe, because around here, justice is more than a dream. It's a promise.